they didn't think that I'd fight them back. They thought somebody on the council estate will just ignore her rights. But what they don't realise is my life's in danger and I am not backing down. I am not going away.
Okay, so we're here today. There's a second round in London. We were supposed to be in court in Wandsworth Court for the second round against Caroline for a contempt of court. Because of what went on over the weekend, we believe, although we're not sure, we had a mysterious last-minute communication from the court yesterday afternoon, just before going home time, which gave us no chance to respond, just saying they'd adjourned the case.
No, they'd run out of judicial time, so they vacated the case.
Yeah, they'd vacated the case because they'd run out of judicial time. So we're now waiting to hear. So we came and met today. We've gone into the Chancery looking at another similar case to pick up some hints and tips. So over to you, Caroline, if you want to ask that first question.
So I was asked by my residents' association to research 5G that appeared on our council estate with no consultation. These masts just appeared. They had planning permission for one stack, but they added 3 more stacks in, so meaning we had 4 stacks, and we're a built-up area. We've got a nursery and a school, we've got a fire station, we've got a post office, we've got a police station, all within the vicinity. So I started researching the 5G. I came across Mark Steele's expert report. I handed that into the Residents Association, at which point they became very hostile with me and refused to put this on the agenda. I handed it into the council and the council refused to give me any information on the equipment. I was seeking to speak to the communications department so that they could reassure me that this equipment was safe and that they could explain the new technology to me, which they just refused to do. So, as I'm absolutely terrified, not getting any response, the Residents Association being hostile with me, I had a row with the treasurer of the Residents Association about their hostility and about my right to be able to speak up and speak the truth. So the police came to this row and the police left, nothing happened, but the council took it upon themselves to take out a case against me for antisocial behaviour, and not only did they mention this row that I had with the neighbour, they also included in their case the signs that I'd been putting up trying to inform my community, because I took it upon myself to inform my community. When the council, the police, the fire station, I went to everybody, the neighbours, the Residents Association. When nobody would take it on board, I decided that my only way forward was to advise my community myself. So the council, in their claim against me, tried to shut down my voice and tried to make it so that I wasn't allowed to put signs up. So if I go to my Residents Association meeting, I'm now threatened with arrest, so I'm not allowed to go to the Residents Association meeting. Because what the council did, as I was putting this information up, and as I was going into dispute with the Residents Association and the council, who they created a false report and sent that false report out to residents to tell them that the equipment was safe, and it's not safe. I've requested a retraction and they're refusing to give it to me. But what the council did was they asked all the neighbours to spy on me. So the neighbours took this very seriously, and basically every time I left my house or every time I had a visitor, they were getting their phones out and filming as if I was not allowed to have visitors. But this is all from the COVID lines, because we were made out to be conspiracy theorists and like the lowest of the low. So they obviously knew that I didn't take the vaccine, I didn't clap for the NHS, I openly, just didn't clap for the NHS.
Right, so you was due to have this hearing today, and apparently it was postponed. Well, this was
time.
It was vacated.
Did they give you a reason for the postponement?
They vacated the case because they said they ran out of judicial time. That doesn't mean anything to me.
We've been putting a lot of.
So they only told you yesterday. They didn't know before that they'd run out of time. They just told you yesterday.
Yesterday, the day before.
The day before.
In the morning.
In the afternoon, the day before the case.
Everything's booked. Trains, all that sort of thing. But they did it at the very, very last minute. They gave us no chance. We put requests out for people to come and support and let us know. So it really messes stuff up. I actually think they do it on purpose.
Yeah, and are they giving you another date?
So they're going to give me another date as a matter of priority. But this is the second time now that they've got this case, because they dropped it the last time, didn't they?
Second time.
So they're not, and they asked me last week if I would consent to taking a mental health capacity assessment, which I refused because A, I want less paperwork, I want less involvement with them because they're a bunch of idiots and they make things up, and B, they've perverted the course of justice by creating false records about me, sharing those false records with partner agencies, and those partner agencies acting on those false records.
Do you think that the behaviour is malicious?
Absolutely.
I wouldn't hesitate with that.
Prosecution.
Malicious prosecution. It's also malicious. Everything they've done.
So the judge is openly looking for information from the prosecution to commit me. And that's what happened in court. He looked very disappointed with some of the reports that went in because he wasn't able to act on them.
What was the intended process of what was going to happen today?
Today they were going to make the decision whether they should commit me or not. Now, I didn't take any notice of the injunction hearing
that
because
means
I'm
commit
acting
to prison.
commit to prison.
Commit to prison. That's what it was all about today.
So I didn't take any notice of the injunction because I knew that my due process had been denied, and I'm acting under a court ruling. And if they're not going to take on board the information, it doesn't mean that I'm not going to take the information on board. I'm going to do what I can to wake people up. So I didn't take any notice of their injunction, and they came round with a warrant on letterhead paper. They broke council letterhead paper, the warrant. They broke into my house, 2 police vans. They broke into my house with this letter.
So do you say it was a council warrant?
The warrant was on council letterhead paper.
It wasn't on court paper, it was on council
It was
paper.
on council letterhead
You can't, so it hasn't come from a court then?
Under the Environmental Act. Because
Doesn't matter though, you can't do it on the council. The council is not a court.
Absolutely. So as they were breaking into my house and all the neighbours were watching, there was 2 police vans. I put on a little bit of a spectacle, but I did swear. I said 1 swear word. And as soon as he told me that I'd said a swear word, I immediately apologised.
So
because it wasn't my intention.
it does appear that the council made up their own warrant. That's what it appears to be, which is an unlawful bias warrant, because the court is impartial. So they've made up their own warrant.
And so is the court.
The council and the court are working together.
The court sent the communication to the head of the council. Surely,
it's gone to her as well.
Yeah, the court would have sent that to her.
Yeah, they did.
Knowing full well it's on there.
Right, so is that also understood that you were requested to do a capacity test? A capacity test which you declined to do. Is there a reason for that?
I've declined to do a capacity test because they're completely incompetent. They've made false statements.
And bias as well. You don't.
And bias, yeah.
They've already shown their bias. Yeah, they've already shown their bias by turning up to the house with 8 warrants for arrest on council letterhead paperwork. Would you really want them to do a mental capacity test against you that's going to be provided in court? I don't think so. I wouldn't accept that.
No.
Independent maybe, but not.
Yeah, did they say it was an independent one, or how did they put it to you?
No, they've asked me if I consent So I've not given my consent. So maybe this is why the hearing's not gone ahead, because they need my consent to do a capacity test, but I'm not going to do a capacity test. I've already been found to have capacity, even though they locked me up in a mental hospital. They said it was clear that I don't lack capacity. I'm handling my own
A doctor
cases.
said that.
Yeah.
A doctor
I'm
said
handling
that.
my own cases.
That's already in the paperwork.
Yeah, I mean, if you're handling your own affairs, you must have capacity. Mustn't you? You don't need that in itself is a capacity test. You don't need their capacity test.
It's a confirmation.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, you don't need their
Which
capacity,
I think that really,
their
if I've got
bias capacity test.
If I've got capacity, they shouldn't be locking me up.
Consider you haven't had due process with regards to the contempt of court. And what are the circumstances behind this?
So they turned up at my door. I had an argument with the neighbour. He sits on the residents' association, and they were being hostile with me when my life was in danger and their lives were in danger. The police turned up. The police left pretty speedily when they saw the Article 61 on my door, and then someone turned up at my door and said that I needed to be in court the next day. So the council took it upon themselves to bring a case against me.
So that seems extremely short notice to expect someone to not build a defence, and to tell them to go to court the next day without having a chance to build any kind of defence for themselves.
And what the judge said to me in the case, so the judge heard the case knowing that because I'd handed the letter in, so the judge heard the case knowing that I hadn't had a chance to get legal representation, but I'm guessing that they just thought that they could get away with it, and this is how they treat people. This is why our country's in a mess, because of these judges. They're not doing their job properly, they're breaking the law. It's them that need to be on trial, not us.
Well,